Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. On today's episode, 10 reasons that Windows is better than Mac. Well, if I haven't made it too obvious, today is April 1st, April Fool's Day. So let's take a look at some practical jokes that you can play on friends with Macs. So one of the simplest things you can do is the good old desktop background trick. So here you can see there's the desktop. I'm actually going to create a new folder on the desktop, move it here so you can see it, and label it something. Leave it right there on the desktop. Now what I'm going to do is take a screenshot, Command Shift and 3, and I'll see that this screenshot now appears right here. Then I'm going to Control click on that screenshot and select Set Desktop Picture. Now what will happen is, if I wait a second, I can see the desktop picture has been set and I can see that folder is there, but that's just on the background. So now I can delete this folder here, move away that image there, and it looks like there's a folder that you just can't click on. So you can have lots of fun actually putting all sorts of things, common items and aliases and things that the person needs to use, and suddenly they can't seem to click on them. They just don't seem to work. Now you can also use a simple Bluetooth wireless mouse to play a good trick. If somebody has one attached to their Mac, or they've got a wired mouse, you can set the Mac up by adding a second mouse using Bluetooth. Then you can sit in the next room or cubicle and control their cursor using the second mouse while they use the first mouse. So you can kind of move it at just the right moment or make it seem like it's got a life of its own. Probably the trick you'll hear about the most for April Fools and Macs is holding the Command, Option, and Control keys and pressing 8. This inverses the entire screen. You can get it back by using Command, Control, Option, 8 again. This is actually just a shortcut for under Universal Access, display, switch to white on black or black on white there. Now here's a trick you can play on somebody using Mail. If you go into Mail Preferences, you can click on the last preference item here, which is Rules. And you can add a rule, and you can simply have just about any email that comes in from anybody perform an action where it plays a sound. And then you can set it to any sound that you want. So you can record sound of some music or just yourself saying something, and every time they get a message, that sound plays. And you can also make it so that it only plays if the mail is from a certain person. So it could be from you, or it could be from the person's boss, person's spouse, anything. Along those same lines, in Safari, you can go into Preferences and change their home page to something maybe a little embarrassing, and then make sure new windows open with that home page. Now when they go to use their browser, it automatically jumps to something like this. Here's one you can play on somebody with an iPhone or just about any smartphone. You can go into the contacts list here and add a contact or alter one to have any name you want. So for instance, you can change it so that your phone number actually shows up with the name of somebody else, like maybe Steve Jobs or the President of the United States or the person's spouse. Then when the phone rings, because you're calling them, it shows up with that picture and that name that you've set it. So it looks like they're getting a call from somebody they're not. So here's a pretty simple one that you can play on someone. You go to System Preferences, and under that you go to Language and Text, go to Input Sources, and you have various keyboards here that can be selected. So select a keyboard like, say, the Dvorak keyboard, which is an alternate English language keyboard. The keys are in completely different places. And if you have an English language keyboard with the letters in the regular QWERTY spots, then you won't really know what letters you're typing. Now once I've turned that on, I can then go under the languages here, switch to Dvorak. Now if I start typing, the letters are all wrong. So what would an episode like this be without a disclaimer? Of course you should proceed with caution with any of these and make sure you're close by. So as soon as the person is fooled, you can jump out, shout April Fools, and stop it before any real trouble happens. Till next time, this is Gary with MacMost Now. Want more video tutorials? Just go to MacMost.com, click on the videos link at the top of the page, and then you can view all of the hundreds of MacMost videos by category.